Coffee's on.
Coffee's on. Oh my gosh, coffee's on. Now, isn't that just the best way to start a live ever? Coffee's on. If you heard that, let me know, because my husband is the best. Listen, I waited over 25 years to be able to call someone my husband again. So yeah, I'm going to use that. My husband. So, oh my gosh. Yeah, so he's making another another pot of coffee. So maybe I'll get lucky while we're on a line here and I'll get it delivered. Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be the best ever? See, parenting and partnership are so similar. There's times when you've got to be really firm, kind of set your boundaries and, do the line. And there's times to compromise. And then there's times that you just have to be silly. And I'm finding lately that I kind of get the feeling that maybe I'm coming off more like I'm super serious about your parenting, and I'm super serious. Hang on. Everything's super serious about allergies. The whole thing with your kids, and that you've got to be this tough kind of mom all the time, and you don't. So quick here. I don't know if you can see this, but this is my shirt that I got from my mother-in-law. Oh my gosh, like I am totally dying. So go on my profile and have a look, because it is super cute. So yeah, I was really happy. So I wanted to kind of start out today, and yes, it's a completely wrong day, because normally we're here on Friday, but I have to go for an appointment because I get Botox for migraines because I have hemiplegic migraines, and they can be quite debilitating. Now, it's almost 6 years since I hit my head, and I went from being super busy to on the couch making a cup of tea. Took like 45 minutes to recover from. So this is one of the many things that I've done over the years to really get my health into the best it can be. And I think that's just a really classic indication of who I am, that when I don't know something or I want to get better at something, I get the education I need. I go find resources, I do the research, I read the books, I talk to people, I ask people. And that's why I'm so stinking good at what I do. I am so stinking good at doing what I do because I am not afraid to keep learning, to try new things, to test out theories, to practice, to adjust, adapt, overcome, and play around with what works until it fits and feels right and gives me the result I want. Now, I know I sound like a total coach right now, which is great because I coach you while you're parenting. But the other thing is that we have to be open to be silly. We have to we need to recognize that parenting half the time gets stressful and overwhelming and kind of out of control because we don't have, number one, the tools, the techniques, and all the resources like I've gathered over 30 years, but also because we get really serious and we think that everything has to be so, and if we don't, it just goes to heck in handbag. Now, if you're working with your client, do you find that you are super serious all the time, or do you find by throwing in some levity and making a couple of, appropriate jokes and kind of making, a little bit of silliness at the situation, like, oh, so you did that again, and how'd that work for the 15th time? Is that still working for you? And depending on your client, you can have a really cool rapport. Well, it's the same thing with your kids. So, oh my gosh, that was a long introduction. So today I'm going to talk about, really that we're going to bust the BS, the banana sandwiches about you can balance work, home, and family. Well, yes, we're going to kind of break through that saying, which to me just creeps me out because it's like, oh, work, family, life balance. It can be achieved, but so many people are out there saying, you can do this, you can do this, like this inane chatter, I'm calling it, of, oh, you can have kids, you can have your business, you can have this balance. Yes, you can. And then they leave you hanging. Like, how are you going to do this? What do you need to do to make this happen? Is this all bologna sandwiches? Well, that's what I'm going to get into today. I'm going to get into some of the hows you can make this happen, while you're still having some fun with your kids, because parenting, yes, it can be hard, but I can make it simpler and we can have a lot more fun with it, which breaks up a lot of the tensions in the house, which diffuses 1,000 situations. It took me way less, but I've had over 83 kids worth of experience to know that 9 shots out of 10, a problem can be solved or a behavior can be redirected through simple humor. Okay? Like you got the whining kid, and you go, ah, where's Don here? And they end up, huh? And they end up giggling, and you didn't have to. I don't want to hear you when you whiny voice. You can just start going, "Oh my ear, huh? What's that? What's that weird noise?" And you have some fun with it. So, for those of you that don't know me or are just getting to know me, and I'm feeling a little crazy today, but that's okay. A little bit playful today because my birthday's coming up and I got my cool shirt, and I am just getting excited about all the things that have been coming down the pipe. So here I am. My name is Corina. I'm affectionately known as Auntie Corina from over 15 years of running a licensed family daycare in my home and helping to raise over 83 kids, excluding all the neighborhood kids, all the school kids, and all the extra kids that would just kind of gravitate to our house, because this house, my house for my family and my kids, my daycare became the spot to go to. Why? Because everybody knew exactly what was expected of them. They knew exactly what would happen if they choose to break the rules. And they also knew they would have a gas. So bringing them here was, and having them around was my excuse to not only have a huge family without actually giving birth to all of them, I could send them home at the end of the day, but it was also an amazing way to provide a community spot that parents knew that their kids were safe, that they would have these consequences, that they would be able to have a great time and just learn a lot of life skills while they were at it. So I'm Auntie Corina, and I am now officially your parenting support coach, which means I support you while I'm teaching you how to parent, because parenting is a skill that takes time to learn. And parenting is also a verb, it is action. You cannot parent from sitting on your Duffy. When you sit on your hiney and you try to parent long distance by yelling or just calling out, you will not be effective. Period. It's like if you want to get in shape, you got to get out and do the work. If you want to have a successful business, you're going to have to get out and do the work. And that's exactly how I run my group, which is why people get removed on a regular basis, because if you're not doing the work, you're not being engaged, you're not being active, out you go. And if you're not going to do that kind of work, then I also have been known to say, you know what, this program isn't for you, and this isn't going to work for you. You are not going to get the results you want. You are not going to have kids listening to you the first time. You are not going to have bedtime being a snap. You're not going to have your kids helping you pick up after dinner without screaming and yelling and losing your schnizzle, because they aren't going to do the work. So parenting is uh, an active what? Way of life. And once we kind of get past that sort of idea that we can sort of parent the way we have and hope to get better results, and we realize that it's okay to say, I'm not really liking how my kids are, because I don't, I am doing the same thing over and over again and it's not changing. So having said all that, I'm going to give you a little bit of a peek as to how I do things. And we're going to do this by breaking through some of the BS of the balance work thing. So here's how we're going to do it. We are going to teach you how to assess the imbalance in your life with your kids and your business needs. So what you're going to do, what I would like you to do, and this is part of my parenting philosophy, the 3 pillars. You're going to look at the behavior. So we're going to look at, where are the imbalances? Are you just running behind the 8 ball where the house looks like a tornado was run through? The kids look like they're feral little beings from, I don't know, Lord of the Flies or something. Meaning they were on an island for forever with nobody. So, need a good scrub, need some, clean clothes, that kind of stuff. Is it that you're constantly behind in your deadlines for your clients, or for getting your blogs out? Are you just feeling like everything is just a crazy chaotic mess? So what I'd like you to do is just sort of sit down and really fast, because I'm not a journaler. I'm not one to like to do a lot of writing, though I have changed that. But I want you to just quick jot down, write down what you did yesterday, roughly at the time, and then I want you to sit there and I want you to just take a moment and take a look at and think, how many times were you steered off track? How many times were your intent, I'm going to write for 5 minutes, I'm going to get the dishes washed, and then everything went, I don't know, there was a crash in the living room, you got a text from a client, you got the alarm went off because you needed to go and pick the kids up from school. So take a look at these things, and I want you to have a look at your little day, and you're probably thinking, holy crap, it's a gong show. But that's okay. We're going to take a look at this. So this is a little bit about a little bit of time management mixed in with some parenting. Now, what I always found is that when I let the kids know what was going on in my day, they knew that when they were going to have me and when they weren't. Now, I also had 2-year-olds that were around, and 13 and 14 months old. So you do have to do a little bit of adjusting. And yes, there's going to be times you're going to have to drop things. But a lot of you that are in here have a little bit older kids. So what we're going to do is kind of set up your whole family for success by trying to plan out some time blocking. We're going to have breakfast from 8 to 8:45. By 9 o'clock, everybody's done their morning routine, is hairbrushed, bed's made, and had their breakfast. That gives you 60 minutes to get everybody ready. And then you can start them on their homeschooling, or their schooling at home, as I like to call it, their online learning. Get them set up so that they can do something, and then you can start your thing. Half the time we feel that it's just so crazy is because we don't plan our days. Part of parenting is planning, and it really becomes way more effective and a lot easier. And it's something that I really wish I had known when I first had my kids, before I started daycare, because all of a sudden when I hit daycare, I had to have a schedule, because they needed to eat, and I was not giving snacks 7, 8, 9 times a day. I was not going to do lunch over a 3-hour period. I would be doing nothing but feeding kids all day. No. And when I got into these really cool routines with the kids, because, at this time we had to do snack, because by this time we needed to have lunch, because we had to go get the kids for kindergarten, everything smoothed out. So think of your home like a schoolroom or like a daycare center. They have everything planned. They know, these kids know that at 10 o'clock it's snack time, that 11:30 or 11:45 or 12 is lunchtime. They know in between it's playtime. They know when it's craft time. They know when it's nap time. They know when it's, get it? Do the same thing with your family. It might feel weird, but boy, are you going to find that you're going to have time, because everybody's going to know what's going to happen. Of course, there's going to be exceptions to every rule. I'm not saying you need to like chisel this in stone and all that, and that's the only way you can live, but it's going to make an insane difference. For example, maybe you want to work out regularly. You could have gym time in the middle of the day or in the morning. I'm not saying that you need to get up before your kids or stay up much later, because that can be really difficult for some people, and I don't think it's necessarily in your best interest if you are not built like that. For me, guaranteed train wreck, not going to happen. So I found a way to fit all these things in by setting the expectations that I needed for myself, by clearly expressing the expectations that I needed for my family and daycare. And that way, then they all knew it was happening. And then everybody got to work together and things ran smoother. So I had time to do the dishes with the daycare and wash the lawn, do all the laundry and do the vacuuming and cleaning, because everything happened in its time and in its place. Okay. So what are you going to need to adapt and adjust them? So let's take a look at your crazy, crazy schedule. Let's stop for a minute. Are you giving snacks at 4 or 5 times a day? Do you have a set snack time? Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe you want to have where you have a snack jar, where these are the snacks in each person's little container. That's where they can get them. When they're gone, they're gone. And you can put a stop. Here's a little something I thought of. If you don't have verbal children, you can put a little picture at the bottom of a stop sign. And the stop sign means when it's all gone, there's no more till whatever time. And it teaches kids to self-regulate, and then they also can look and go, oh, we're done. And when they're older, you set it all out. You can put a piece of fruit, you can have it in the fridge. Lots of parents do little sip cups or, bottles of water or their reusable bottles of water, and everything is prepped. Get your kids to help you. They will feel more like eating what's there, and they won't go, oh, I don't like that, and then you don't have to do the whole thing. Okay, so let's get things a little bit organized. Something as simple as knowing what the snacks they can have and what they're going to have for lunch really makes things easy. And if it is a peanut butter and jam sandwich with some banana on the side and some apple slices, bomb.com, go for it. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be fancy. As a matter of fact, 3-year-olds can make really, really awesome peanut butter and jam sandwiches. Just saying. Okay? All right, so we've looked at our schedule. We're going to start breaking it down into pre-morning, or morning, so like 8:30, 8 to 10, 10 to 12, right? 10 to 12, 12 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 6. Break it into 2-hour blocks. And then you can see what you're going to put in there. Okay, at 9 o'clock, you're going to get the kids ready, get them set up for school. And once they're set up for school, you're going to throw in a load of laundry. And once you're done throwing a load of laundry, and you're going to go back, check the kids, make sure they're cool. Then you're going to sit down and open up your laptop, because while they're doing their lesson, you're going to be able to do some work. Do you see how I'm started with this big mess and I'm kind of bringing it in and bringing it in? The kids have been told, while you're on school time, I will be there. If you need help, you raise your hand. We don't use our words, right? You can help them with mute by being beside them. Is it ideal? No, but we're not in an ideal situation, so we need to let that go. Be flexible. Now, sometimes when you're working, you can remind your kids, mommy has to really do some really important work for her client, so I need you to have no words. Or use my signature soft light system, which is bomb. It's the bomb. It's so much fun. As a matter of fact, one of the little kids of my clients now uses it when he doesn't want his mommy to bug him. He uses the stoplight system. And at that time, he was 2. So if you want that, let me know. Just say stoplight and I'll get that to you. It's free. It's my gift for you because I love you guys. All right, so let's get on to the next thing. The techniques that you're going to need. Right, so let's talk about that. Now, this breaks into my pillars. When you set your kids and you set your clients up for success by saying, these are the expectations, these are the steps we're going to need to do, and these are the results that we can expect happen. If you don't do those things, these are the results. It's the same thing with children. We clearly identify what we want. While you are doing schoolwork, you need to focus on your schoolwork. If you need help, you will raise your hand. Should you choose to talk during schoolwork, I will not, this will be the direct and connected consequence, okay? Meaning you will use your not listening ears for them on the next time they need something. If they interrupt you when you've had a very specifically, if you're not using my stoplight system and you have specifically said, this is my work time, and they choose to talk to you, then you can choose to save that and use it later, or you can just hold your hand up, and then later on you can go back and say, when you were interrupting me, I needed to work for an extra 2 minutes. These 2 minutes are going to go on to time that we were going to spend playing or doing something that they enjoyed. So they realize that time is valuable, and that time, it does, that if they take time from somebody when they have specifically asked for it, they're going to lose some of their time. You see, it's directly connected. And it's not like, I'm never going to play with you again. It's, you interrupted mommy. That's a 2-minute penalty. If there's not blood gushing from their heads or bones sticking out, they're going to be fine. Now, I also saw this really cool Mel Robinson thing, and she talked about how sometimes we get interrupted because we're having feelings that we're feeling uncomfortable with. And part of our job as parents is to help our kids work through those rather than come to us to get their need met for this bit of comfort. It's also okay for some children, especially when they're small, and especially when you have anxious children or children that are high need, to have a system set up where they know they can quietly come in with no words, and they can sit beside you, and maybe you have a quiet book for them there. That way, then they get what they need. You don't get interrupted. You get your job done, and they get their needs met. So you see, when you're parenting, and I can go on with this stuff all day long because there are so many options and ways to make it work for you. And that's what I do. So when my clients work with me, you get your 1 hour call, you get a call. I'm yours for a solid hour, 1 day a week. We talk about things like this. We find out, are your kids high need? Are they just bored? Are they just lacking boundaries? Are they just not sure? Are they just going to do what they want? Do you follow through with your consequences? We talk through all of that, and then we start coming up with things you're actually going to do. And what I make a point of doing, so like we were talking here about the work balance, we looked at the mess we kind of had, then we went, okay, I see myself getting pulled away all the time for stuff that I could have waited a couple of minutes. Then we created a framework, right? Of 2 hour, 2 hour, 2 hour, and we kind of blocked those off, that these were kids' times, or this is kid. Then we did then we did the dishes, then we checked on them, then we started some work, then we threw the load of laundry in the dryer. We learned how to multitask in a way that fits together and doesn't get overwhelming. Okay. We talked about how we can bring our children in by giving them what they need to have done, the expectation of it, and the consequence, logical consequence, which means something we put on them, or a natural one, like, I don't know, you don't want to eat. I guess you're hungry till snack time. Nobody died from lack of, not having a snack or not having a bowl of cereal in the morning. Honest. You're not a maid, nor are you a restaurant. Okay, let's get that clear. So when you've got, this is how we start creating even more work-life balance, because you're being clear, you're identifying what you want, what you need, you're telling them what you want and need, and you're using the communication that is very clear. You aren't going to natter on like I just did at your kids for 22 minutes and expect them to remember. Whoa! Cats are playing. Sorry, guys. It's the Indy Cat 500. So anybody that watches the Indy 500 racing cars, that's what it is, but we call it the Indy Cat 500 because the two of them go bonkers and they make loops around the house. Anyways, I digress. But see, it wasn't a pause for parenting. That was just a pause for catting. Use some humor. Make sure things are fun. If you see your kids doing something, go, "Wah!" If they're not listening to you, you can go, and they're whining. If they're doing something, just, you don't have to always, you can go. And you make faces at them so they know, right? So parenting doesn't have to be so serious. It's another thing I do. When I work with my clients, I make sure you guys have some fun. At least I try to. And yes, it takes a little bit for us to kind of connect and get to know each other. But I'm gonna sometimes call you and go like, so how'd that work for you? So you did that one again and get a different result. And we'll be a little bit silly. Why? Because it can feel a little tense, because when we reach out for help, sometimes people feel judged. I'm not going to judge you. Goodness gracious. I'm certainly not going to judge you. Been there, done that, know what it's like to kind of jumble through things. So I make sure I'm there for you with your Voxer on your phone, where you just talk to me. I'm there 11 hours a day. So if you get stuck on something, or you're about to lose your snizzle, or you are so frustrated because yet again, the 3-year-old has taken the yogurt, smeared it on their face, and rubbed it on the couch, and you just are done with that, you can say, the little monster went and did this again, and I just and I'll talk you through it. That's what I do. I make sure you've got the tool, the technique, the ear, the support, the encouragement, the how-to, exactly what to say, and the follow-through. That's the last thing I do with my parents. So I teach follow-through that makes sense to the culprit, to your little toad, to your monster, to your tween, your teen, your toddler, and all the rest that's in between. Because when they know exactly what's going to happen, either naturally, like, I don't like that. I don't like my toast with the edges on. Okay. Thank you for telling me. but that's breakfast. You can choose to eat, you can choose not. That's natural, logical. Don't throw toys, please. Toys are for playing, not for throwing. Simple, clear communication. If you choose to throw the toy goes away. Boom. Toy gets thrown, toy gets put away, done. No fuss. They knew, they chose, done. Nobody's the bad guy. They made the decision. Okay? So all of that I put together. I put this together for 6 weeks for you. You're going to get full access to me. You're going to get 6 1-hour calls. If it goes over or it's a little bit less, it's fine. If your kids are hanging off you like you are a jungle gym, don't worry about it because I'm used to it. It's not a big deal. Now, all of this is for $2,497, $24.97, not $24.97. 2,400, like 2497.00 decimal 00, and it's US dollars. Now, what's going to be really nice about this is that when you're done the 6 weeks, you're going to be a rock star. But I want to make sure that you really integrate this so you don't slip, so you don't feel like go back to old habits, because then you're just going to say nothing works again, and I don't want that for you because that's just a pain in the butt and a waste of your money, effort, and time. Not cool. So I make sure that for 3 months, I have a special private group that is only, oh, nice hair, only for my moms that have gone through the program. You get 3 separate 1-hour lives with me where you can hop on and you'll be so confident by then and comfortable, and we can have a little live together where we can have a chit chat. I might even just set it up as a room. It's only for those, and it's for 3 months. So just so you can kind of touch base and check in for 3 months after. I think that's really, really important. So 6 calls, 11 hours a day, 6 days a week, 3 follow-up lives for 3 1-hour lives in a private group just for us, to just make sure everything's going for $2,497 US. And I am launching it. There's only going to be 4 spots. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why? Because I want to make sure you're getting exactly what you need. Sure, I could have 10 or 15 clients, but I want to make sure, it's part of me. I want to make sure that I am there for you so that you know that I've got your back, that you know that my time is not spread so thin that you're just another number, because you are not. You are my client. You become a partner with me. You become a friend. You become part of my family. You become someone that I care about and I think about and I wonder, and how can I help this and how can I make it better? I worry about you sometimes. You become part of my world. And I think that's really, really important. So I'm going to invite you to my free event. Now, my birthday's coming up. So it's coming up really soon. So I'm going to invite you to my event where not only am I going to launch this, celebrate my birthday, but I'm going to launch this parenting course. So make sure you get there. You're going to meet other moms just like you. I'm going to be sharing a lot of the little secrets and ways that I can show up for you and the ways it's going to improve things. You're going to know more about me. You're going to meet other moms that you can network with that are going through the same thing. Pause for parenting 10 times in a Zoom, muting their Zoom to scream at their kids down the hall because they're fighting again, things like that, and having to rush off in the middle of working with your onboarding, your one-on-one high-ticket client because the kids are climbing and knocking things out of the fridge, okay? Got this, been there, done that, I understand it. So let's make sure you hop over there. The link is up there, but if you are ready, just say, I'm in. Just, I'm in. And we will get you rocking and rolling, okay? So you guys, I'm so glad that we did this. And again, sometimes you just never know what I'm going to do. So I switched it up, changing the day, which is good. Change is good. Too much routine gets boring. People get lazy and complacent. So for those of you that hopped on today, that is fantastic. Do make sure you say hi. Let me know how many kids you have, what your business is, and if it's a hashtag replay, make sure you also do the same thing. Don't be a lazy bones and just write down replay. I want to hear what you think. All right, you guys have an amazing day. Happy Thursday, and I will be talking to you guys soon. And yeah, make sure you get in an RSVP on my free event for my birthday and for my absolutely unique parenting program that nobody else does like me, because I like being like that. After all, I am like that. the crazy aunt, like I am, Auntie Corina. So you guys have a kick-ass day, and we'll talk to you soon. And go have some fun with your kids. Go be silly. Honestly, you can be silly. It'll make the day much better.